For our teachers and our families, our students, right away we tried to mobilize and put together a distance learning program. The first part of this was making sure that both staff and students had devices that would work well. The first part of this plan was to make sure that both staff and students had devices that would work for the purposes of distance learning. Now, most of our kids use iPads in the classroom every day, and for the most part, the district is one-to-one, except for the younger grades. So we were able to send the iPads home with them for the purposes of distance learning. And teachers have computers, some of them have iPads or other devices that can certainly be used for distance learning. We communicated to the families that these devices were coming home and asked them to let us know what questions or concerns they had. Of course, the biggest concern was internet access. That is also our biggest concern as well, as not everybody has internet access. In times like these, and in all times actually, we want to offer all opportunities to all students and staff as much as possible. So we began the work of thinking about what distance learning would look like, thinking about how could we get most of it online, and then thinking about how we could get our families and our teachers internet access who didn't have it. Working on this project has involved nothing short of immense creativity. It's involved brainstorming by all. So for those who don't have internet, we have encouraged them to reach out to local providers, reach out to cell phone providers to see about hotspots. And we've also turned the public internet on in our school buildings so that families could come park in the parking lot, receive what they needed for internet, whether it was to download something or view an assignment, save it locally to the device, and then bring it home to work on it. So we've really done a lot in terms of thinking about how we're going to get everybody access. A key to making this happen is communication with our families and our students. Families communicate lots of different ways, from email to text to phone call to however else they may prefer to be contacted. And one of the first jobs that our teachers had was to identify how families can best be contacted, when's the best time to contact them, and then to create some sort of plan for staying in touch with families. And this is going to be very individualized, depending on the child, depending on the learning that is or isn't taking place, and depending on the kind of support the family needs. Whenever questions or concerns came up, we worked together to brainstorm and problem solve. For example, of course, many teachers don't want to share their personal cell phone number or home number with their students. So one of the solutions we found to that was a Google Voice number. So many of our teachers have set up Google Voice accounts and are now actively using those to communicate with families and facilitate learning. The other thing that every teacher needs is a learning management system. So for example, Google Classroom. That's one that we've worked on some in school. They've had some professional development on, and we certainly encourage our teachers to use. There are many others that teachers are already using, and we certainly don't want them to have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. A learning management system is essentially a way to organize the learning. So there would be a place for teachers to assign work, deliver instruction, conduct assessments, and the best part about a learning management system is it can be all in one place. Google Classroom certainly offers that, and it offers the transparency of parents being able to see what's going on in the Google Classroom as well. So people at home can also support the learning if they're available to, and if they have questions they can absolutely reach out to the teacher and just try to help kids as they stay on track the best they can with learning going forward. We know that the learning that the kids are doing now, at this very moment in their homes, is not a replacement for classroom learning. In fact, it's going to be very different than classroom learning. And nobody in the world's ever done this before. Not like this. So we're really, treading on some new ground, breaking some new ground here. And it's going to take a while, I think, to determine what works, what doesn't work, how much is too much, what's not enough. But again, it's going to be highly individualized based on the needs of each child. I want to applaud all teachers everywhere for taking this on. I want to applaud the students for stepping up to the plate. I want to applaud the families for being so willing and ready to work to help their kids get an education that they'd otherwise be just missing out on right now. When kids and teachers do get back to the classroom, we're going to have to also work to develop some sort of new sense of normal. Now everybody has all these new tools, all these new skills, and hopefully some confidence in using them. That's the really exciting part. Once children step back into their classrooms, teachers are not going to be the same teachers that they left, when they left at the beginning of this pandemic. When everybody comes back, everybody's going to have all of this new learning. And I certainly see a place to be able to integrate some of that learning, especially when it comes to individualized instruction, especially when it comes to help students come to school who don't want to, being able to include them maybe while they're not home. There's going to be so much great learning that comes from the hard work that teachers and families and students are doing right now, that it's hard to predict just what will happen with it, but it is a very exciting thing. Again, we're always looking at providing the best opportunities we possibly can to all students, and then helping students access those opportunities. This model of education is extremely individualized. It's like the Starbucks model, except the drinks are delivered straight to your house. This is the beginning of a new era. We're going all in with 21st century skills. Creativity, critical thinking and problem solving, collaboration, communication. Those are the skills that all of us are using right now. I'm excited for everyone's learning. I want to support the staff, the students, and the families however I can. We're going to have to work together, and we're going to broaden and deepen our skill set like never before. I'm looking forward to the pandemic to be over and for everyone to be able to get back into our classrooms, our teachers, our kids. I'm looking forward to having some sense of normalcy in our lives. I'm also looking forward to the new educational landscape that lies in front of us.